Welcome back to the finishing line. And there's no Andrew because he's on a holiday or working. And we are going old school because I'm in charge and I don't know how to use any of the stuff in the podcast room. Didn't even know how to get into StreamYard. Andrew had to do it for us. But it's working and it's recording because it says it up in the corner. So it looks like we're good to go. How are you, Tom?
The kids have been let out to play, Dave. This has only taken like 2 years to finally get our chance on our own. As Andrew said today, he was like something that we've built up for a few years now. And to be taken down in one night by the two of us. I know we'll be on our best behavior, but yeah. I hope you're having a good time, Andrew.
Yeah, no intro music or any of that crack either. It's like being back in lockdown again, isn't it?
Straight in though, kissing, as you would say, Dave. Yeah. You know,
does sound like something I'd say, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say crack on with the racing. Actually, before we get started, can I just say the only thing I've got to say? I know Andrew's giving you some stuff to say. Cotty is running tomorrow. She is favourite at Ballinrobe. Got a hell of a good chance. There's a 2.5% share become available in her this week. So if you would like to know more, give me a shout. You could own your own share of a horse that's favourite for a race tomorrow. So she looks a surefire winner, even if it isn't tomorrow. But yeah, great chance to get involved. I'm sure it'll go pretty quickly.
And yeah, I apologise for where I am, but it's the best we can do. I got loads of texts today about why is the podcast not up. So that's a good sign that people are looking for it. But Andrew had a few issues, as we said, and he left us to our own devices. But I do have some stuff to say. Gavin Lynch is coming on for a couple of minutes. Probably we'll get the Doncaster races out of the way first. If he jumps in before that, then all well and good. Just to talk to Coast To Curragh, which is happening a couple of Saturdays' time. It's about 17 days away. So me and Andrew's brother-in-law will be taking part in that. Gavin's just going to explain all about it again. Anybody wants to donate money, then I think Andrew has links for the GoFundMe and stuff underneath the videos. And then the Punters Challenge, the Hollywoodbets Punters Challenge is on for Doncaster at the moment. Obviously, that's an accumulative score and a day-to-day score. But the Champions Weekend for Leopardstown and the Curragh, there's €500 given away each day. So maybe if you haven't gotten involved with the Doncaster one, do get involved with the Curragh one, because I want to win it again, and I done terrible at Doncaster today, and it's a good way to win some money, to be quite honest.
It is indeed, and yeah, the Champions Weekend looks class, so you can have an interest in every race, even better, you know.
Yeah, you got to bet €5, and then you can do what you like after that. You qualify for putting your selections in, and you'll be on the leaderboard. But for the racing for the weekend, you obviously missed today. I don't think it was that big of a deal, to be honest. Frankie Dettori was jumping around Doncaster doing flying dismounts. There you go.
I didn't see any of it. I didn't see any of that now.
The 2-year-old filly looked very impressive. And to be fair, the staying filly did as well. She's by Galileo. She looked pretty impressive. She might be one for actually the filly and mares race at Ascot in October. You know, it tends to go to a pretty kind of decent stayer. But we're going to go to Doncaster for tomorrow for 3 races, and then Saturday the same. So the kind of group and listed races. Tom, I hope you have studied these.
I have, but if you go to this bloody 2-year-old race as the first race now, the Flying Childers, God help us.
That's exactly where we're going. Now we're going to start with the 140, the listed Flying Scotsman Stakes. 7 furlongs, and again, 2-year-olds. The betting is Huyamal, 3-1. Ribby, I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. 7-2. Noble Truth 11-2. Razzle Dazzle 6-1. Eldrick Jones 15-2, and then 8-1 Bar. What are you thinking, Tom? I know you don't like these 2-year-old races.
No, I hate these 2-year-old races. I'm just going to keep this simple, and I'm sticking with Andrew Bowling and Oisin Murphy. They've both been in really, really good form. Hu Yamal, great name, and won that maiden at York. That's worth about 60 grand or something. The Convival Maiden Stakes, really good maiden normally anyway, and won that and won it well. No surprise for one of Andrew Bowling's to come on from its first to second run. And yeah, look, I'd stick with that. I'm sure you could give a chance to half of these though, at least.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I'd give Eldrick Jones a chance if he came back to his Royal Ascot form, but that maiden is usually a decent maiden, that the favourite one at York, so I'd stick with him. And Andrew Bowling is actually trying to win the Trainers' Championship, so he needs all the cumulative money he can get. So I think he is probably the best choice in that race. We go to the 210 at Doncaster, the Flying Childer Stakes, a Group 2 for the 5 furlong 2-year-olds. Armour is favourites 6-4. The organiser is 11-2. Corazon 6-1. Katura 7-1. Chipotle 8-1, and then 9-1 Bar. This kind of looks like a race that is set up for Armour to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't win. It was one of those kind of races. He is short and he's every right to be favourite, but it just wouldn't surprise me if he gets bet. And I think maybe George Bowie's horse each way, Corazon, with William Buick on. 2-year-old filly. These 5 furlong 2-year-old races for me are like, I like the 2-year-old races. I understand, Tom, why you don't. They're hard to equate the form, but 5 furlongs, especially for me, is they can very much beat each other from time to time. So I go with Corazon each way.
Yeah, I wouldn't knock that at all. Looks like it's improving anyway. That horse was good at Longchamp last time out. I was going to stick with Armour though. I thought he should be a good few pounds ahead of these. Back down to 5 furlongs after trying 6 in the pre-morning last time. Just didn't quite get home maybe there. Back down to 5 should suit and should take a good bit of beating, I think.
Okay. The 240 at Doncaster, the Doncaster Cup Group 2 for the stayers, and Strad is back out. I know people probably thought we wouldn't see him again after Ascot, and they were worried he wouldn't win at Goodwood, and he scraped home, but he's favourite here at 10-11. Trushan 9-4. Rodrigo Diaz 11-2. The old stager at this stage, Naif Road 20-1. Eagles by Day 33-1. The Grand Vizier 33-1, and Alerta Rocca 40-1. Strad going to do it again, Tom?
I think he probably will. I can't see Trushan running on that ground, to be honest. They're on about taking him out, and I think they probably will. After that, then he should just be head and shoulders above them, the rest of them. Naif Road hasn't really been in good form this year at all. The Grand Vizier ran a blind the last day to finish third, but I couldn't see him getting anywhere near him. And I think Trushan will come out, and I think Strad will be a very short price, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see Trushan running either. It looked pretty firm today from what I was watching. I think Jason Weaver, it could have been Jason Weaver, or Freddie Talicki maybe, was even commenting the 2-year-old filly that Frankie won on He said the ground was probably too firm for her. It was kind of rattling quick. So I doubt he's going to run. Even if he did run, the Gosling stable are clearly informed. They had a treble there today at Doncaster. So I think Strad, if he managed to get 10 to 11, even money is a great bet. But whether he will be that price in the morning remains to be seen. Okay, we go to we go to Saturday. And Doncaster and the 220 Champagne Stakes. Usually a decent horse will win this. It's a Group 2 for the 2-year-olds, 7 furlongs. And to be honest, it's a disappointing turnout because there's only 4 runners. And you'd usually see a couple of Aidan O'Brien horses, but I think, as I said all year, he doesn't seem to have many 2-year-olds floating around at the moment, unless he's holding them back for later in September and October. But we've reached for the moon as favourite, 4 to 5. Again, a Gosling, the Tory horse, and no surprise after treble today. Lucille, 6 to 4. Bayside Boy, 7 to 1. And Irish horse, Twilight Jet, 20 to 1. What are you thinking, Tom?
There's only 4 runners, but this is going to be a hell of a good race. And even beyond the first 2, Bayside Boy was well fancied the last day. I know he's got a really big reputation at the Varian Yard, so it's no surprise to see that they're pitching him back or up in class from a listed race last time up into a Group 2. But the front 2 in the market are fascinating horses. Lucille has been brilliant this year for Richard Hannon. Very good at York last time out. Really, really interesting. And then Reach for the Moon seems to be the high post, doesn't he? After what he did at Sandown, he absolutely bolted up. He'd done the same at Newbury. And the only horse he's got beat by is Point Longsdale and New Science. I know New Science disappointed a bit in France there a few days ago, but still that form looks very good. The 2 times he's been beat. Look, I'd probably side with him, but for me, it's a watching race. I think it'll be a great race to watch. 4 very good horses. Even Twilight Jet, it's a good spot by Michael O'Callaghan here. The 4th picks up £6,735. And if he beats one home, he gets a bit of black type and a bit more money. So, he's another one. I can't see him winning, but he's not going to be beat 10 lengths or anything like that.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting race. And I think I said earlier in the year, I quite like New Bay as a sire, who was a Bayside Boy's sire. From what I've seen from his 2-year-olds, they seem tough and genuine and seem like they can get a trip and they have a bit of speed. So I wouldn't be surprised if he runs well, but it's more than likely between the top 2. And I know Lucille is giving away £3, but all his breeding screams that he's just going to be a really, really good colt as a 2-year-old. I've yet to see any Maymasses come out this year and do what they did last year as 2-year-olds. He's very fast. He travels very well. Reach for the Moon, for me, it's probably a middle distance horse next year, being by Sea the Stars. Very good, but I would be, even with the £3, I'd be very surprised if Lucille doesn't outspeed him here.
Yeah, it depends how it's set up, doesn't it? It'll be interesting. As you say, they're two different types of horses. One looks very much a 2-year-old, and the other lad looks a middle distance horse for next year. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they set up.
Okay. The 3 o'clock at Doncaster, the Kazoo Park Stakes. This Kazoo thing sponsors some other races now, don't they?
They do. I think I said before, yeah, they're a car company over in the UK. They're like a car supermarket where you can buy cars online. So, yeah, big company by the sound of it.
Seems to be. A Group 2, 7 furlongs. As ever, there's no 7 furlong Group 1 in England, which is a crying shame. I'm sure eventually that'll be turned around. But we have Lanakash, 13-8, Glorious Journey 9-4, Danya 5-2, Dubai 9-1, Oh This Is Us 20-1, and Rhythm Master 20-1. For me, I put up Lanakash the last day at like 33-1, and I backed him each way, and he came second, and I was devastated because I think it was the best time to catch him when he was kind of unheralded, coming after a bad run at the end of last year. He got very, very much the bounce factor after not running for a year and then 2 runs in quick succession. See it the whole time. Horses run up to form. So I would not be surprised if the other Hamlin and McToom horse, Danya, wins, to be quite honest. I'd be very worried of Lanakash bouncing. Glorious Journey is what he is. I think he's a bit regressive. And then the rest are much of a muchness. Oh, This Is Us pops up, but I reckon this is a bit too much for him. So Danya for me, and I wouldn't be surprised, Tom, if you put him up too.
Yeah, I'll put Daniel up. I've put him up a couple of times. I'm a fan of his. He's still actually quite unexposed. He's a 4-year-old, but he's only had 11 runs. Has run 2 absolute stormers this year. Has run 3 stormers, very well, probably 4 to be honest. Was 4th, 2nd, and 1st, and deserved to get his head in front of one of those big handicaps off a high rating of 106. He's up to 112 now. It gives him every right to run in a Group 2, that does. And I think he deserves his chance. Lanquesh, as you said, I just have no idea how to get a handle on its form. I couldn't tell you what it's going to do. It could go and bolt up and be a Group 1 horse, or it could get beat and it's back in the listed company kind of job for it. I just haven't a clue what to expect. Dubai is the other one, and his form is better in Dubai. So maybe wait for him to go back there.
Okay, 2 for Danya. The last one at Doncaster, the 335, the main one, St. Ledger, 1 mile 6, Group 1, last classic of the year. No surprise, Hurricane Lane is favourite 4-6. Ottoman Empire 11-2. Mojo Star 6-1. High Definition is 8-1. That horse should be about 100-1. Sir Lucan 10-1. Interpretation with Holly Doyle on board for Aidan O'Brien, which is actually he's a good horse. She's got a good ride there. 11-1. The Mediterranean 12-1. Youth Spirit 33-1. Fernando Vici 40-1. And Scope 50-1. Do you think the favourite's going to win?
Most likely, isn't it? He's got the best form in the race by a long shot. He's gone and won extremely well in France. Was unlucky enough in the Derby. Lost both of its shoes that day, as we documented. That's the only time it's been beat. I don't see why it wouldn't stay. It looks like he wants a trip. I put him up a long time ago for the Derby, and he was my one to keep an eye on before York. He's out of a Scirocco mare by Franco. Like, he should just stay all day long. I don't really see what will beat him, to be honest. If I was going to throw one up, if I knew the Mediterranean wasn't going to make the run in and just be used as a cart horse, then I'd put him up. Maybe he might still stay going, I'm not sure. And the other one is Interpretation. Holly Doyle, as you said, Dave, she got a really good ride there. And I think if there's one that's going to go forward, or if one of them is going to go forward, it's probably the Mediterranean. So Interpretation might get dropped in. High Definition then, that thing must work the house down in Ballydoyle, because on its form, it's no right to turn up in this race. They could cost 50 grand for them to supplement it, and it just must work the absolute house down, because there's no way you would pay 50 grand to supplement that based on its previous form.
This is just a strange race every year for me, and I actually like the race. I've backed the winner loads of times, but I tend to look past the best horse because rarely does the best horse win this race. When Camelot was betting it, so classy, got bet, should have won. He was definitely the best horse. Said last year I didn't think Pile Driver would win, and I thought he was the best horse. I thought he'd come out this year and win Group 1s. Obviously I haven't seen him since the Coronation Cup, but it's just a strange race, and I've no doubt Hurricane Lane will stay. I just think he's too classy, and classy good horses just never end up winning this. Like, you end up with, and no offense to the horses that won it, but they're boats. Like, people are talking about Logician winning an arc after he won this. They're too slow, and Hurricane Lane actually looks like a world beater, especially after what he did in Paris. I understand they've Adea for the arc, but I would have went back to the arc with a Hurricane Lane. I would have went back to France. And I just think something will outstay him. I really like, I said about Johnny Murtaugh's horse, Ottoman Empire, and he's not the most flashiest horse, but he's the perfect profile for this race, and that he's a bit of a grinder. He's kind of won the right races. And I think Holly's on the best Aidan O'Brien horse as well. I think interpretation, as far as looking like a Ledger horse, looks the best Aidan O'Brien horse. He seems battle hardened, kind of slow, and just keeps plodding along. And the kick that Hurricane Lane had in France, just to me did not scream like a horse that's going to win a St. Leger.
I just think
so much speed there. Fair enough, I didn't see it, but I didn't see it earlier in the year. But he kicked away in the Irish Derby, and he kicked away in the Grand Prix de Paris. I don't think I've ever seen a horse that has that kick of speed end up winning the St. Leger.
I just think he has the perfect breeding. I know we can go back to it sometimes, and sometimes you throw the book out the window with breeding, but his dam won twice over 2 miles. She was a stayer, and she was rated 103. And then they've sent him to Franco, who, was a mile quarter horse. And I think it's just got that perfect blend of speed and stamina from the dam side. The dam, again, as we said, being by Scirocco, who is really a jumps horse, a jumps stallion. Would have been the sire of Annie Power and Manella Rocco. So, there's a lot of jumps and staying influence coming from the dam side. And then you stick in the class of Franco. So whoever came up with it, or whoever decided to go breed out of her, it's such a genius, really. It works perfectly.
Yeah, like, boys breeding, he should stay, and he's the best horse, but I've just seen it so many times in this race. The best horse just doesn't win this race.
I agree on that.
They might not act on the track, or the front runners might get away, or so.
Yeah, I wouldn't go steaming into him at 8 to 11 or whatever he is, or 4 to 6, but for me, he's my most likely winner. I've been a fan of him for a long time, so I'll stick with him for now.
And I'll go for Ottoman Empire. Okay, that's Doncaster done. Gavin's going to be popping in at some stage, but we'll kick on with Leopardstown. Here's Gavin right now. 2 seconds. Gavin, can you hear us?
Yes.
How are you?
How are you?
Good. We're trying to hold the fort here while Andrew was off gallivanting.
Yeah, he was telling me I was talking to him today.
Yeah.
So you've turned in, instead of Dave the dinosaur, you're Dave the golfer now, are you?
Apparently so, yeah. I was told by Andrew's cousin, who's actually a good golfer, that I could actually make a good golfer. So, but Andrew's no time for golf with me anymore, so I'll be playing on my own. So
sure, he's no time for the two of you anymore.
No.
He's gone.
He's living the high life now, Gavin.
Yeah, he's too good for you now.
Yeah, absolutely. Told you it happened, Tom.
Yeah, I was only a matter of time, Dave. I'm surprised we lasted this long, to be honest.
How are you, Tom?
I'm good, thanks, Gavin.
Is it true you're getting married?
I am. Yeah, yes.
And Andrew told me today to say to a woman.
Yeah, 4 weeks time. 4 weeks on Saturday. So
third
time
lucky. Saturday. Third. Why? How do you mean third time lucky? Explain
3
that.
dates. We've cancelled twice already. So yeah.
Oh, I thought this was your third time to try and get married to a different woman.
No, that's only the second, Gavin.
Yeah, you're just a one-woman man, only Dave.
No, that's not the conversations we do have, Gavin. No. If it would be easy if it was like that.
Yeah. What's the story anyway?
Not much. You're on to talk about Coast To Curragh for us.
Yes. Yeah. So Saturday, the 25th of September, a lot of work has gone into it. Hopefully it's going to be a good day. Weather-wise, we don't know yet, obviously. But starting in Leopardstown and then Bellewstown, Navan, over to Fairy House, then on to Moyglare, the Pat Smullen road for, I think, 20 years for. Then, Fairy House and Moyglare, then Naas Punchestown. And today I was in Giltown Stud. And that is just a wow. I swear to God, it's amazing. Have you been to it, Tom? No?
Lucky enough to have been in there once. Yeah, it's just something else, isn't it?
Like, honest to God, I was blown away today. I think that for anybody that does the cycle, it's worth doing it just to get into Giltown Stud. I saw See the Stars today on Harzand.
Class.
Yeah.
And just an amazing place, 800 acres. And I met Julie, Pat and Alan, and three nicer people you couldn't meet. And actually, in fairness, you know, I think in racing we beat ourselves up a bit. Like there's one bad story a month and we're giving out. But everybody I've spoken over the last 10 months have been just amazing, honestly.
I'm looking forward to it anyway, Gavin.
Where you're starting in Moyglare, are you?
Moyglare, yeah. When are we thinking we need to be there for?
I'll be there for 12:30.
12:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moyglare. And I see you're kind of doing two groups now, a faster group and a little bit less on the legs group. My
wife Anne-Marie is starting in Fairy House at 10:30, and then our group is starting in Fairy House at 11:30. It's just to try and accommodate different speeds, I suppose, really. So
yeah, it makes sense. I'm sure some people will want to be kind of flying down the road, and other people won't be able to keep up. So that makes good sense.
Yeah, and it's 80k. And the one thing I'd say about Anne-Marie, she's just gone upstairs there, but I didn't say this to anybody, but she was in intensive care last year for 8 days last August. So for her to be able to do 80k, it's a bit like your story, Dave. It's a great story, you know.
Fair play to her.
Well, yeah, no, she's made a huge recovery in the last year. So for her to do that would be great. And also Pat Smullen's wife, Frances Smullen, she's going to do the last couple of kilometers with us. So, and maybe her son Paddy and so on. So I think there won't be too many dry eyes in the house by the time we get to the Curragh. So that should be good.
Yeah.
And there's racing in the Curragh then as well that day, Gavin, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, we're getting to the Curragh hopefully, like a guess, because it depends on the wind is the biggest thing. But we hope to get to the Curragh around 4 o'clock. Beresford Stakes, I think, is on at 4:10, and then after that, I think they're going to announce us on the Tannoy system to cycle up in front of the grandstand, which would be amazing. So
fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well. I'm looking forward to when we decided. I was kind of only coming out of hospital myself, like you said there, and it's been kind of a long-term goal. So I'm actually delighted. And be fair to Brian, Andrew's brother-in-law, we've been out on the road, and when we couldn't get out on the road, we were in the gym on the bikes for hours. So looking forward to it now.
Yeah, we need to get Andrew on the bike.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's just I hope he doesn't miss out on Giltown Stud, because that's just, you can't miss that, honestly. I think,
like you said, Andrew's living the high life now, and exercise don't come into it. The only thing, how many exercise Andrew's doing is golfing, and then at the end of golfing, a point in this hand going into the mouth.
I reckon, right, I'm going to wake up one Saturday morning, and I'm going to see Andrew playing centre back for Brentford.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me. They're trying to sign him as a goalie.
Goalie, yeah. He was a goalie.
Yeah.
Only the practice squad.
Yeah.
That wouldn't shock you, would it? If he got signed as like 6th choice keeper or something like that.
No, but he'll go over some Saturday and the 3 goalies will be injured and they'll ask somebody to play in goals.
Yeah, I could definitely happen.
Gavin,
But,
before you head off there, and we keep going with Leopardstown, will you just remind everybody how they can donate or get involved again as well?
Yeah. So 2 things. If you want to donate, go to GoFundMe, search for Coast To Curragh, and you can donate there to an amazing cause, Cancer Trials Ireland. We've raised 35-40 grand so far, but we'd like to keep going with that and raise a good few quid. And if you want to take part, go to Cycling Ireland, go to their search engine, and there's a keyword search, and just type in Coast To Curragh, September the 25th, and you can sign up. It's only a tenner to cover your insurance, and then I'll send you one of those in the post, sponsorship card with all the details in the back, and hopefully people will raise a good few quid. Like there's Tygo Shea, the ex-jockey, on his own already, he's raised over 7 grand, like just fantastic stuff, you know. And even the other day, Barry Geraghty, I asked Barry, would he, because we go past Barry's house, and I asked him would he cycle from his house to Ferry House, which is 8 kilometres, and he said he would. And then he says to me the other day, I was chatting to him, and he says, where are you going after Ferry House? And I told him, and he goes, you know what, he says, I might do the whole lot, he said. So I think Barry might end up doing 80 odd. So just as I said to you, the people in racing, the race courses and everybody have just been brilliant. So it's very good.
Excellent. And Gavin, last thing, I'm going to put you on the spot now here, Gavin, before you go.
Go on, Leopardstown.
No, I want, because a lot of the viewers are itching for the jumps and they've liked our little Cheltenham videos. I don't want the tip. I don't want the tip. I want the horse you're most looking forward to seeing over the jumps. Doesn't need to be a tip, just the horse you're most looking forward to seeing.
Bob Ollinger, I suppose. And I'd say he's about 1 to 10 to end up on the marsh because, you know, last year Henry was talking about at one stage, I think, the Supreme, but he obviously went to the Ballymore. So I think if I owned a good horse, I wouldn't run him in an RSA personally, unless he was a total stayer. Bob has loads of gears. I don't think he'll go to the Arkle because I'd say long term, I think of the Gold Cup. So Bob Ollinger in the marsh, he's very exciting there. And for Saturday in Leopardstown, I don't really have. I was looking through them today, and I can't really find many bets in it, to be honest. Tell me this: who do you think is going to make the run in the Champion Stakes? Because I'm struggling to figure that one out, to be honest.
I don't know. I'm disappointed. There's only the four runners again. I'd say Poetic Flair will make the run.
Yeah, even though it's his first time over 10 furlongs. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think Jim Boulder will go out and see what happens. You know, he's 2 other really good horses to beat, but he believes in his horse. He's tough as well, so.
I'm surprised that the Tarnawa Connections didn't run a pacemaker, but that's just a side thing.
It's unusual, isn't it? This day and age, there's not at least one pacemaker in a Group 1 like this, you know.
Yeah, I just hope it is a good race, but I just hope it doesn't turn into a farce with 4 runners and if they go slow, or I just, don't know.
Well, I was hoping there'd be more runners because I didn't want it to end up being kind of the same as the Coral Eclipse, because if it ends up being slow and it's a turn of foot wins it, St. Mark's Basilica is just going to win. He's too fast. He's too fast over the small distance at the end of the race for the other horses. But I hope it's a decent race.
Yeah, I thought if it was a 10-runner race with lots of pace on, I would have fancied Tarnawa, but I think now it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky, especially betting wise. Sit back and watch, I think.
Tom, are you coming up on the 20th? Is Tom coming up? Are you coming up on the 25th? We're going to stay
I'm at a wedding.
Tom is at a wedding.
The only wedding I've got all year was on the 25th, and I knew this miles out. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't make it, Gavin. But I'll share the GoFundMe's and we'll donate some money on you.
And it's good practice for your own wedding. And the last thing is we're staying in the Cadine that night, aren't we, Dave?
Yeah, Brian and Andrew are in the Cadine. That's all booked and ready to go. A few points.
And myself and Anne-Marie are staying in the Cadine, so it should be a good night. Thanks,
we look
boys.
forward to it.
Definitely. Enjoy that one. Best of luck, Gavin.
See ya. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Good to hear from Gavin. That's he's getting a lot of traction with that promotion of that as well. He was on RT at the Galway Festival, and as he said, racing as well is one of those close-knit sports that when you need something, you know, people are there, and they're willing to help their own. And there was a bloodstock, not a bloodstock agent, a guy who runs a stud there was very sick and needed some treatment there a few weeks ago, and I can't remember the exact amount, but the amount of money raised was colossal. So yeah, I think 30-40 grand, that'll be well over 50 anyway.
Absolutely. There'll be plenty donating on the day and stuff as well. There's probably some people that still might not know about it, and they'll see it on the day at the races when they will come into the Curragh, and they'll go from there then as well. So it's going to be good.
If you can donate, we'll put the link in our bio under the video, and like, you know, even a fiver goes a long way. Price of a pint, throw it in there. Good cause to give it to.
Absolutely. Right, we'll rock on with Leopardstown. Saturday first, 110, the Champion Juvenile Stakes, a Group 2, over a mile. We have Maritime Wings 9-4, Absolute Ruler 3-1, Manu Accord 7-1, Atomic Jones 8-1, Buckaroo 8-1, Once Upon a River 8-1, and 14-1 Bar. Tom, any big fancies in this?
Funnily enough, Dave, a 2-year-old race, I don't have any big fancies. I struggle with them, to be honest. Yeah, you're probably better than me at them. If I was going for taking a stab in the dark at one, it would probably be Buckaroo each way, maybe. One well enough at Galway is 8-1. It's a fair price each way, isn't it? But yeah, it'd be a shot in the dark, to be honest. There's loads of them with chances. For
me, it's Absolute Ruler. Donnacha O'Brien's Coolmore horse. Very well bred. He's by Warfront. His mammy.
Together Forever.
Yes, a Group 1 winner at 2, and she's a sister to Forever Together, the opposite way around, who won the Oaks, and her brother is a Group 1 winner, Lord Shanakill, a horse a few years ago. So superbly well bred, was unfancied for his debut. Now it was only at Dundalk, but he travelled so well, put the race to bed. He's a length and so a bit of the second, and then they were near 6 lengths ahead of everything else. It's usually a sign that you have a decent horse on your hands. And he just he's a big, strapping, lovely looking colt. You could only think after seeing him that he'd have more to come. So I think he'd have a right good chance of winning.
Yeah, wouldn't put you off.
Leopardstown 140, the Matron Stakes. Mother Earth, short price favourite, 11-8. Opponent plays 13-2. Pearls Galore 15-2. Akanala 8-1. Champers Elises 12-1, and then 12-1 Bar. There's a lot of them out there. For me, Mother Earth is obviously the most likely winner. 3-year-old, getting weight from the older horses. Her form is rock solid. The Falmouth run, that I think alcohol free won. Was it alcohol free? That race anyway. There's loads of winners that have come out of that race. She came out one in France after it. She's the most likely winner. But again, this is a race that has thrown up crazy results. Alpha Centauri was like 1-4 on and got bet in this race, and amongst other horses. She's the most likely winner, but I think Pearls Galore has a right good chance each way. She's progressive. She's winning listed Group 3 races. She's a nice turn of foot. I think the Leopardstown track can actually suit her if she tracks in behind and then kicks at the 2 furlong pole. So go for her each way, but Mother Earth is the most likely winner.
Yeah, I agree, Dave, that Mother Earth is the most likely winner. Would I want to charge in the back of here at 6-4? No chance. And if I was having a bet, it would be on a horse who I've followed for a good while and looks to be improving this year. Is Epona Plays. Went up to 1.2 miles last time out on good firm ground. Probably wants it on the softer side. I say that I think she goes okay. She goes okay on good ground. I just think when it gets soft, she acts on it and others don't. Back down to a mile here and back into a Group 1 for her. She looked to be really improving before that. She's gone well off a break before. She had 76 days off now. Yes, she's got to give weight to some of the 3-year-olds, or all of the 3-year-olds. Are some of them proven to be much of a muchness? Like you look at Shale, Pretty Gorgeous. God, they've been disappointed this year. Like they've really disappointed. The wheels look like they've completely come off those two. And Pretty Gorgeous was one I was a massive fan of, and she's a big scopy filly. It looked like she was going to improve from 2 to 3, and she just hasn't. But yeah, opponent plays for me. I think she's about 11 to 1. I'd be backing her each way.
Okay. We go to the Boomerang Mile, a Group 2. Max Swiney is favourite 7 to 2. Maker of Kings 9 to 2. Njord 7 to 1. Thunder Moon, another horse that I just can't understand. He should be about 33 to 1. 8 to 1. Fev Rover 9 to 1. And 12 to 1 Bar. Tom, who are you thinking?
If the ground was soft, I'd be all over Max Swiney, as in he'd probably be my nap of the week. It's not. Is he going to get away with it? I don't know. 4 to 1 probably puts into context there. He'd be a lot shorter, I think. Maker of Kings is ever consistent, as is Nord, who Nord wants a pretty good gallop. Hopefully they'll go one here. Maker of Kings is probably the one I'd put up each way. It's 5 to 1. Very, very, very consistent. Has only been out the first 3 twice in his 13 career starts. I would be backing him each way. I think he's probably the safest bet in the race.
Same as I'll never back Max Swiney on good ground. If it was heavy, I wouldn't even worry what else is in the race. I'd back him. I'd probably put him up. He's about a stone better horse on heavy ground. I'd say at least a stone. I go for consistency, and I'm going to go for Njord. I've never put him up. I've never backed him. But the race at Galway, if you ignore that race, his form in his last other 2 races is top notch. He's a length and a half behind Order of Australia. An Order of Australia is what he is, but he's a genuine Group 1 horse, because every time he runs in those races, he's getting beaten by Palace Pier. He's getting beaten by other Group 1 milers. I think it was a shock when he won at the Breeders' Cup last year, but he's proved that wasn't a fluke this year. Then Njord's third the last time was behind Sacred and Lanarkash, who we talked about at Doncaster. That was a genuine good Group 2. So I think it might be his day in the sun. And like you said, Tom, he needs a good gallop. He should get it, because there's a lot of runners in the race. It shouldn't be stop-start, and it shouldn't be slow.
Yeah.
Okay. The 245 at Leopardstown, the Irish Champion Stakes, probably the main race of the whole weekend. St. Mark's Basilica, even money. Tarnawa 15 to 8. Poetic Flair 3 to 1. And Patrick Sarsfield 25 to 1. Right. Gavin already touched on it, and I'm sure loads of people are looking forward to this. And I am myself. I really like St. Mark's Basilica. I just think it could be falsely run. And if it is, he'll outspeed him. He's also getting £3 from Tarnawa. I know Andrew laughs about £3 here and there, but £3 is a lot to be given away to a colt that's as good as he has showed he is. Mishra franked his form. Tarnawa is very good. She's probably the most likely arc winner. Poetic Flair is very good, but he's stepping up in trip. I think St. Mark's Basilica is the best bet. He's the least questions to answer. Tarnawa is dropping back in trip, so this looks St. Mark's best trip, if I'm honest. And I think even money's a good price.
Look, I was kind of the impression I was impressed with St. Mark's over in France. I was questioning that form, and to be honest, I didn't think I'd see him do what he did in the Curragh Clips. Absolutely bolted up, battered the Dave and Mishriff. I'd put a line for Mishriff, but you've got a Dave and Mishriff right next to each other. Two solid Grade 1 performers, Group 1 performers, sorry. Now, they gave him £8 that day, so that was fair enough, but by God, he did it well. I agree if this turns into a sprint, he's going to have the turn of foot. I don't think Tarnaro is slow, though. And I can't see Colin letting them sit until they turn into the straight and then kick. You know, he knows what he's riding. He knows that St. Mark's probably has the better turn of foot. I can't see them just letting that happen. Where if that means he has to go and take it up, then he has to go and take it up on the bend or something. But I can't see him just sitting until they turn in. I'm amazed there's no pacemaker in this. Like, to put it into context, there's prize money now to sixth. The fifth gets 20 grand and the sixth gets 10 grand. Like, I'm sure it probably costs about 10 grand to enter into the race, but you know, there's money there to go and pick up. I'm amazed Aidan didn't leave something in. It probably shows that he's happy enough for St. Mark's to do the talking, you know.
It's genuinely a good sign for a horse if Aidan is willing to leave them in there on their own. He's happy with whatever the pace and whatever way the race goes. He has the best horse. It's happened year on year. If you see one Aidan O'Brien horse in a big race, then it's the most likely winner.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I can't leave Tarnaro alone now. I really like her. Became a fan of hers last year. We were on her Dave on Arc Day last year, and that's kind of when I fell in love with her, to be honest. And she went and won very well at the Breeders' Cup as well. So look, I don't know, it's tough. Now, in fairness, right, gun to my head, at 2-1, I'd have a small bet on Tarnawa. I can completely see the case for St. Mark's, though. It's going to be a hell of a ride. To be honest, sit down and watch it, and take out a beer, a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a lemonade, whatever you want, and put your feet up and enjoy it.
Very good. Right, we go to Sunday. 4 Group 1s at the Curragh. Hopefully it's not windy so we can hear the commentary. The Flying 5 Stakes, Winter Power, the Nunthorpe winner, 15-8, Glass Slippers 2-1, Dragon Symbol 3-1, Bonista 8-1, Gustavus Weston 12-1, and Rohan 12-1, and then 16-1 Bar. I think the two fillies are too fast. And I think Glass Slippers will win it again. I think she's very, very good. She maybe doesn't get the credit she deserves. Her first run is usually a prep run. She ran better this year than she has in previous years. And I think she goes and wins again and then goes back to the Breeders' Cup. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, like, to be fair, Winter Power has been very good this year, hasn't he? And Emma Yakiana, as I call her, she went back the form up then the next day. Fascinating to see him coming over. It just shows, you know, the level of sprinting over in Ireland, that the first 3 in the market are all UK based horses. I would give Glass Slippers a chance, though. She's kind of one of these. I know a lot of people don't like it, and it's not the perfect race to do it, but she's very consistent. And at 100-30, probably be willing enough to back her each way and take back some of my stake if she was beaten, because I can't see her out the first 3 anyway. She's such a consistent filly. Like,
I think how she rides the races as well, Winter Power is the perfect horse to set it up for. Because she's just going to go so fast, and she'll sit in behind and catch her about half a furlong to go.
Yeah, and as you say there, she won this last year. She goes on any ground, basically. I can see her going to the Breeders' Cup again. Wouldn't put it past her. She's only had one run this year as well, and that was a decent run. So, and she's normally come on from her first run of the season. The more I think about it, the more I want to back her, actually.
Okay, that's 2 for Glass Slippers. The Moyglar Stud Stakes, Group 1, 2-year-old fillies, 7 furlongs. Corja Gajo is 11-4. Agartha 3-1. Homeless Songs 3-1. Lullaby 11-2. Velocidad 6-1 and 7-1 Bar. I think the favourite is another Ger Lyons horse that he seems to be getting loads of these really good horses. She was just so impressive the last day, and when a 2-year-old is that impressive, she beat an Aidan O'Brien horse, so that I'm sure they thought is decent by near 5 lengths. I think 11-4 is a good price.
Yeah, whoever Mark Dobbin is, I don't know who he is, but he's got some bloody good fillies. He had that New York Girl as well. That Ladies' Church with Johnny Mercer is pretty good as well. And yeah, I'd stick with her. Ger Lyons is in cracking form again, isn't he? He always seems to come up with a couple of these now every year. If you give him the raw product, he comes up with it, So yeah, I wouldn't put you off her at all.
Okay. 405 at the Curragh. The Vincent O'Brien National Stakes, Group 1 for the 2-year-old colts this time. We've Point Lonsdale, who's looked a world beater, 4-9. Native Trail, 7-2. Ebro River won the Group 1 at the Curragh last day, 13-2. Duke de Sessa, 8-1. Maritime Wings has ended up in here again, but I'd say he'll run at Leopardstown. And then 20-1 Bar. Is Point Lonsdale going to win, Tom?
I think he is, yeah. I think he's going to have a race on his hands, though. Ebro River has got some pretty decent form, and so has Native Trail. Won a Group 2, beating Mascala, who is not a bad horse at all either. Came out and won a listed race at Newbury then. Yeah, I think he'd win. I wouldn't bloody touch him at 1-2, obviously. But yeah, this is maybe another one of those races that if you wanted the scumbag each way bet, really, 7-2. I know it's not a maiden, but there's some down the bottom there who probably haven't got too much of a chance. And I imagine if they come over with him, he's got a cracking chance. So, yeah. I imagine Point Lonsdale, but Native Trail, maybe even the forecast, something like that, a reverse forecast.
Yeah, look, I think Point Lonsdale will win as well. He looks to have everything you want in like a perfect racehorse. His breeding screams middle distance, but yet he can win races like this as a 2-year-old. He can lead, he can come from the back. When the taps are turned on, he lengthens and quickens, sticks his head down, really tries, runs all the way to the line. There's no messing with him. There's no real flashiness or anything. He's just tough and genuine. So I'd be surprised if he's beaten, to be honest. And probably like you said, Tom, just sit back and watch it.
Yeah.
And the last one of a mad weekend. 4:40 at the Curragh. The Irish St. Ledger, a Group 1, 1 mile 6 furlongs. Twilight Payment, your favourite, 3-1. Sonny Boy Liston, 9-2. Sir Lucan, 9-2. Also entered in the St. Ledger in England. Baron Sammody, 5-1. Search for a Song, 6-1. Master of Reality, 7-1. And 8-1 Bar. Tom, have you any fancies in this?
The one I'm going to put up, right, and I can't believe I'm putting this up, and the day that I backed this at Tremor and it got beat off of a mark of 65, never, ever did I think I'd be putting it up in an Irish St. Ledger, but Baron Sammody would be my pick. Has just gone on and improved. Didn't handle the course there at all. And ran to an RPR of 57. Now, I'm praying, Dave, that something like this happens with Alice Averill, who clearly didn't handle the track at Tremor the last day and just goes on to improve. She's running next week at Sligo, so hopefully we can get the ball rolling with her again and a bit of momentum picked up, because she nearly fell over herself coming down the hill. So that just write it off. I've finally been able to let it go. But yeah, Baron Sammody has just improved out of all recognition last year. It's been over to Belmont this year and won. Doesn't look like he's done improving. I know he's fifth last day, but don't mind that too much. Back up and trip now. And yeah, I give him a good chance.
Yeah, Baron Sammody is a good horse. Wouldn't surprise me. But I can't believe I'm saying this, and I never put her up.
Do not put her up.
I think Search for a Song is going to win it again. Oh, man, she was just so bad last year. She looked like she didn't want to race. She was running all over the place, pulled up. Her form was terrible. Form's a little bit better this year, but it's still not great. She just came out the end of last year and won this race. Like it made no sense to me. It came out of nowhere. And at the start of the season, Dermot Well said the two fillies are trained for specific races towards the end of the season. The only race that matters for Search for a Song is the Irish St. Ledger, and the only race that matters for Ternawa is the Arc. So I think she's an unbelievable price at 6-1, because it's definitely her target. And if she is going to win, it'll be on Sunday.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I wouldn't knock it. We'd take the piss out of Andrew for Search for a Song and stuff. But yeah, this looks her race, doesn't it? If it's ever going to happen again, it'll happen on Sunday.
Yeah. Could be a 3-time winner of it. For a horse that looked like she didn't win the race. She bet Kew Gardens in it, and then she won it last year as well.
Which is, yeah, bloody good form, isn't it?
Tom, have you a nap and next best before we sign off?
My nap is going to be... Hang on, let me find them. If you've got yours, Dave, fire away. My nap is going to be Glass Slippers. And my next best is going to be... I'm going to have two of them. I'd back Epona Plays each way in the Matron. And what's his name? Maker of Kings each way as well in the Boomerang Mile.
Okay, my nap is the same as Tom's. It's Glass Slippers. I think she's the best bet of the weekend. And my next best is the 2-year-old filly in the Moiglair, Corja Gujo, which is Irish of some kind, and I don't know what it means.
Very good. I think we survived, Dave. I don't think we did anything too crazy there. We had a guest on and everything, promoted charity.
I told Andrew was going to ruin the whole podcast on him and it'll be destroyed, but nah, we done well. I just need to make sure I end the broadcast properly and close it down properly.
Do you need to press save or anything like that? That's all I'm worried about now.
No, I'm going to press end the broadcast in 2 seconds and see what happens. So thanks for listening, and Andrew will be back next week.